All right, we're going to start off hot. Look, for those who are familiar with me, I am Steve P. Young. I am the founder of appmasters.com. So if anything's about the event, you guys can come to me, okay? I don't work for Adjust. But we're going to start off hot. Look, guys, Benjamin Franklin said it best. If you ain't changing, you're probably dead. And we got someone special from Zillow who went through a refresh, a brand refresh, and he's going to talk all about how they're able to do that and take their app to the next level. So put your hands together for Emily Nassif from Zillow with Melissa Coleman from Adjust.
Ooh, good morning, everybody. Thanks so much for being here. I'm going to kick this off with a few questions. How many of you in the room have ever used a real estate website or app to look up your dream home? How many of you have used a real estate website or app to look up a friend's address to find out how much they spent on their home? How many of you have used the same tools and considered using them to buy a property, a house? Okay, a lot less. I'm Melissa Coleman, Director of Client Success at Adjust, and I'm joined by Emily Nassif, Senior Marketing Specialist at Zillow, to discuss basically just this, challenging transition in user behavior and views. Emily, thanks again for being here. Can you kick us off with giving us a little bit of background on where Zillow is now versus where it was about a year ago?
Yeah, it's great to be here. So we like to refer to the transition internally as moving from Zillow 1.0 to Zillow 2.0. So Zillow 1.0 is kind of what Melissa talked to with her first two questions, which is really about the search and find marketplace. So if you go on to check the value of your own home, to find homes that you can afford in your area, it's really the beginning of that home buying journey. And a lot of people forget or they don't know, but that information was actually not readily accessible before Zillow and other real estate companies, internet companies. So you used to have to look in the classified section or other outdated paper ways to find the homes near you. And so we've really helped revolutionize the first part of the home buying process, which is the search and find portion. But there's still a ton of pain points. If you ever bought a house, I'm sure you can think of lots of these, but it's a very stressful part of your life, and for many people, it's the biggest purchase they'll make. So we're really trying to help with the rest of the home buying purchase journey by moving into Zillow 2.0. So we talk about it as moving from an information marketplace to a transactional marketplace. And we think of our new revolutionizing of the real estate industry kind of like how you think of ride sharing, travel, shopping. All of those have innovative online technology companies have really changed the way we go through those processes. And so today we are still the search and find marketplace. You can still look up the value of your neighbor's home and see how much it's worth. But we're also looking to help remove the friction and unstick people and move further down the transaction when it comes to renting, buying, selling.
That's great. I'm glad I can still look up how much people spent. Can you help us understand this, major shift from 1.0 to 2.0? How is it being communicated creatively?
Yeah, so I think the logos are up right there, but there's two ways that really show that we've rebranded and we've moved into Zillow 2.0. So one is the logo. The old logo is on the left, the new logo is on the right. So one of the big differences is the house icon, and really it's supposed to be like a signature, which is the culmination of every successful home transaction. So you'll see it's like a swift movement, it's easy, it shows empowerment, and it's really like moving to that end of the home buying process. But also they're still fairly similar, they're both still Zillow Blue. And so we are still leaning on our past as we move into the future to really like cover the full funnel. And another good example of the rebrand and how we show up creatively is our TV commercials. So the first commercial will play the 2018 versus the 2019, and you can kind of notice a lot of the differences in how we represent emotion and the part of the home buying process. So if we could play the first video.
When we move, can I finally get my own room?
We're working on it.
Hey, look at that.
Let's go for it.
Starting to feel like home.
Zillow.
So that's the video from 2018. If you guys are This Is Us fans, you might have recognized one of the characters is one of the kids in This Is Us. But really, it's that whole search and find process, and it's very emotional, the soft music. So now we'll play the second video.
Let us be the first to say, welcome home.
It's gorgeous.
Because Zillow is reimagining how people buy, sell, and rent homes.
Mommy, you have to see how big this closet is.
With a new shopping experience, easier home loans, and even buying your current home. So you can not only find a home you love, but make it yours.
So the motion there is supposed to be a lot different, right? Everyone's in their physical home already, so it really represents that end of the transaction. And the parts of it that we're highlighting are Zillow Offers, which is us buying and selling homes, Zillow Home Loans, which is our mortgage origination product, and these are all the new products we've launched to get towards the transaction. And so really how we show up in creative, a lot of it is kind of just like the simple of representing to people, now we're not just the beginning, we're helping you all the way through to the end. And I think also both of those tie to our core values, which like a lot of tech companies, we have core values, and two big things for us are ease and transparency. Really, the rebrand ties down to a simpler pathway home. And so, you know, there's the ease and transparency of the value of your home and the value of homes around you that you can afford, but there's also ease and transparency in what does escrow mean? How do you buy and sell a house? If you have to move within 30 days, you know, Zillow Offers can help make that easier by giving you an offer that you can immediately sell to versus listing your house on the market. So it's kind of giving other options to improve the ease and transparency of buying a house.
I mean, I actually have some firsthand experience with what a complex and challenging process it is because my dad has actually been a real estate agent in San Francisco for the last 35 years. And so I grew up going to open houses with him and, you know, eating all the food while he schmoozed. And, you know, it's really complicated. I mean, there's, for anybody who's had exposure to it, if you hear the word contingency removal, you like break into sweats if you actually know what it is. And it's just really hard to navigate, and it's something that my dad really, I saw him do with his clients, is just make it as easy and as transparent as possible. But throughout that, it was also really important for him to establish credibility and really be a trusted resource for his clients. Because at the end of the day, this is likely the biggest purchase they've ever made. I mean, some people in San Francisco, it's like a drop in the bucket these days. But, you know, it's really important. And so building that trust, establishing that credibility, I would imagine that's something that's really important for Zillow to, you know, establish. So how is Zillow working to build that trust with their customers?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely one thing to save a search and see what homes pop up in your area. It's another thing to buy a house that Zillow owns. So I think trust really comes down to what is your product and how are you marketing it, and those go hand in hand. So a great example for us of how we're building trust in this new Zillow 2.0 is a new product we launched earlier this year, which is called Best of Zillow. And what it does is it takes data like customer experience surveys and takes our top agents that provide the best service to customers and gives them a nice badge that is the Best of Zillow. And this is important for trust because when a customer comes to Zillow.com and is ready to take the next step and clicks on Contact Agent, they're expecting Zillow to help them and the agent to be a great resource, and they're trusting us to connect them with someone who can help them move forward in their home buying journey. And so the Best of Zillow program really leverages data and helps facilitate and build that trust. But a lot of people, you don't know about this program unless we market it. And so we also ran an integrated marketing campaign earlier this year to showcase Best of Zillow to customers so that we can help build that trust through our marketing channels, and then we ultimately deliver on that trust with our product. And another way this shows up for us is operational excellence is very key at Zillow. So obviously if you're buying and selling houses, there's the operational excellence piece of the repairs, like are what you expect. You're buying the house that you think you are. But there's also, to me, trust comes from operational excellence in small ways. So on the paid marketing team, we run dynamic listing ads, and they should be listings that are for sale in your area. If you click on an ad, and it's not for sale anymore, we've just disappointed you. We've just lost a little bit of your trust. And so as we evolve to move down funnel and we want to build that trust, to have you trust us to give you your mortgage, buy a house from us, it's the small ways we show up as well, even in the search and find marketplace, to make sure that we're delivering on that. And so operational excellence has become a huge part of our company, just in the more trust we need to build with customers.
Yeah, that's so important, definitely. It sounds like Zillow's doing some really exciting product and marketing to convey this new strategy. But at the same time, given that search and find is still kind of the foundation and has been, I would imagine it is going to be important to maintain that messaging, that legacy messaging, in addition to this new buy and transact messaging. So how is marketing, looking to maintain that balance?
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, even in the absence of a new product, a 2.0 version of your company, a rebrand, we always try to refresh our marketing and think about a new way to communicate to customers. And so we think of creative and messaging strategy in kind of two sections. One is iterative and the other is conceptual. So have an example, but this is an example of like search and find. So on the left, so this is probably very unsurprising to people, but people like to click on pretty homes. So, that's a very pretty Craftsman, purple, blue home, and that tends to do well. So we iterate on it. We test the nice backlit porch, the beach house, the mountain home, and these all do really well, and so we iterate on that and we keep building up our learnings from the search and find. But if we always did this gets stale. This doesn't help communicate to the user our new product offerings. And so we also think of the conceptual. So we like to think of conceptual testing like a March Madness bracket. I know a lot of other companies do this as well, but your first concept you test will not be whatever the equivalent of your home exterior is. Like, you've iterated on that for years. And so really setting yourself up for success is giving yourself space to test and iterate into a new strong concept. So on the left, you see we have home interiors versus playables. So a new creative versus a new ad format. Playables, this is true, did not do well for us. So interiors kind of moves to the next round. And on the right, you've got a narrative story. So TV commercials don't work well in app ads, but could we tell a broader story about how the app influenced someone? Versus product features, a 6-second, this is like draw your search, but it could be any product. And the narrative did terrible, so product moves to the next round. And then that you pit the interior versus product together, and product comes out the winner. So then you can iterate on that product idea. Can we showcase the Zillow offers product in 6 seconds? Can we showcase different filters for saving your search? And you start to find your way into finding new top performers that communicate a new part of your product or your offers that can kind of stand up to your old top performer. So to us, it's kind of two waves of let's keep iterating on what wins, and then let's find what the next winner is going to be. And this is obviously vital when you have new product offerings that you have to showcase to people, but it's also really important just for evergreen in the absence of products. And so we like to think of this and like make sure that we're intentionally doing this. Some people start the year and like build out their March Madness bracket and prioritize their creative asks. Some teams do this quarterly, but it's all about for us like setting processes in place to keep moving forward.
Got it, that makes sense. I like the March Madness bracket, makes it feel competitive. Well, great. We have a few minutes left, and this has been so helpful. Thank you so much for sharing this. And as you mentioned, it's really important. Not everybody goes through a rebrand. A rebrand's not an easy thing to just kind of do overnight. And so I'm sure a lot of the marketers here, it's really great to hear this iterative strategy with creative, when you just need to kind of refresh things. So this has been great background. Thank you again. In closing, do you have any advice for anybody who is looking to buy a house or crazy enough to try to attempt it, especially here in the Bay Area?
Have a lot of money. No, use Zillow, buy a house from Zillow, move to a Zillow offers market.
Great. Well, thanks again, Emily. We're going to open it up and see if there's any questions anybody has.
Hey, how's it going? I just had a question about your ads. How were you testing the static and the playable? Were you just measuring like clicks, installs? How'd you determine that?
Yeah, so we use a metric, we call it creative index, but people call it different things. It's basically installs per 1,000 impressions. So it's a combination of, did someone click, were they engaged, and then when they landed on the App Store page, did they download? Because you can clickbait people into anything, but do they take the action? And then that's the fastest way to evaluate creative, but our ultimate goal is currently, it depends on the product we're supporting, but to contact an agent or submit a Zillow offer. So then we evaluate things down funnel too. The intention with Playable specifically was we thought more expensive cost per install, higher quality user, but there's a certain point that your cost per install is so high that it'll never pan out, and that's kind of what happened. But we approach creative testing pretty diligently a lot of the time and set up always a control. We often implement split tests to make sure that everything gets equal opportunity in an auction. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, well, we're going to wrap things up. So thank you again, Emily. Thanks, everybody, for being here.